The world is vast, and in its darkest corners, some stories were never meant to be forgotten. From seasoned pilots who never landed, to entire aircrafts that vanished mid-flight, to children who were there one moment and gone the next. These aren't myths, they're not ghost stories. They are real events, unsolved, unclosed, and deeply unsettling. In this documentary, we explore 5 of the most mysterious disappearances in history. Cases that defy logic, resist time, and leave behind nothing but questions. This is Vanished Without a Trace. July 2nd, 1937. A Lockheed Electra aircraft slices through the morning sky over the vast Pacific Ocean. Inside it, a woman already etched into the history books. Amelia Earhart, pilot, pioneer, and icon. She wasn't just flying around the world. She was defying every boundary of gender, of aviation, of what the world thought was possible. By then, Earhart had already become the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. But this journey, this was meant to be her final, most daring feat. A full circumnavigation of the globe. She had made it over 22,000 miles, just 7,000 to go. Her last known destination? Howland Island, a tiny dot in the middle of nowhere. Somewhere between Lae, New Guinea, and Howland Island. She vanished. Her last transmission, disoriented, low on fuel, unable to locate the island. We are on the line 157337. We are running online north and south. No plane, no debris, no distress signal. The U.S. Navy launched the largest air and sea search in history up to that point. 66 aircraft, 9 ships. And nothing. Amelia Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan had vanished, swallowed by sky and sea. Since then, theories have spun like storm clouds. Theory 1, the crash and sink. The most widely accepted. She ran out of fuel and plummeted into the unforgiving Pacific. The ocean, deep and vast, holds her remains like a secret it refuses to share. No theory has ever been proven. No wreckage conclusively found. What remains is a woman frozen in time, not just for how she died, but for how she lived. Amelia was more than an aviator. She was a symbol of possibility, a reminder that even in the 1930s, courage had wings. Her disappearance is a mystery. Her legacy is not. March 8th, 2004, Kuala Lumpur International Airport. 239 people board Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, a routine red-eye bound for Beijing. The time, 12:41 a.m. The Boeing 777 lifts off into the night sky, unaware it's about to become part of one of the most chilling aviation mysteries in modern history. The flight progresses normally for the first 40 minutes. The last words from the cockpit, spoken by Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, are calm and routine. 2 minutes later, the plane vanishes from radar. No mayday call, no alert, no trace. When MH370 failed to arrive in Beijing, panic erupted. Families waited. The world watched. Theories ignited like wildfire. Military radar later revealed something shocking. After disappearing from civilian radar, the aircraft had turned sharply west, flying back across Malaysia, then out over the Andaman Sea. It then disappeared once again. But a faint digital trail remained. Hourly satellite handshakes between the plane and a communication satellite operated by Inmarsat. These pings continued for nearly 7 hours. Based on signal timing and Doppler effect, experts mapped a possible crash zone deep in the southern Indian Ocean. An international search effort was launched. Australia led a vast sweep of remote ocean floor, 120,000 square kilometers over 3 years. and $160 million. The result? Nothing. No fuselage, no black box. Only fragments. A wing flaperon found off the coast of Reunion Island, and a few other parts, washing up thousands of miles from the crash zone. What happened aboard that plane has become the subject of intense speculation. Theory 1. Catastrophic mechanical failure. A sudden depressurization or electrical fire might have knocked out communication and crew. The plane could have flown on autopilot until fuel exhaustion sent it into the sea. Theory 2. Hijacking. Was it seized? If so, why no claims of responsibility? No ransom, no political motive, no leads. Theory 3. Pilot involvement. This is the most controversial. Investigators discovered Captain Zahari had practiced a flight path eerily similar to MH370's final arc on a simulator at home. Some believe it was a deliberate act, a controlled descent into the sea. But no note, no known motive, just questions that tighten the deeper you go. MH370 wasn't just a Malaysian tragedy, it was a global one. Passengers came from 14 nations. Families still gather, still search, still hold vigils for those lost in silence. It changed aviation forever. Airlines adopted real-time tracking systems. Satellites now monitor even the most remote airspaces. Because of this flight, planes can no longer vanish so easily. Flight MH370 disappeared in an era of satellites, smartphones, and 24/7 data. And yet, it vanished like a ghost. It reminds us that no matter how advanced we become, the sky can still keep secrets. The Ural Mountains, February 1959. A group of 9 experienced hikers, students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, set out into the Soviet wilderness. They were young, smart, adventurous. They called their expedition the Grade 3 hike, the most difficult kind. Led by Igor Dyatlov, the group hoped to return in 2 weeks. They never came back. When the group missed their deadline, a search was launched. It took rescuers over 2 weeks to find their tent, high on a slope now known as Dyatlov Pass. What they found defied explanation. The tent had been cut open from the inside. Their boots, coats, and supplies were left behind, untouched. Footprints led away, barefoot, in snow, in temperatures nearing -30 degrees Celsius. 2 bodies were found first, under a cedar tree, stripped to their underwear. Hands burned from a fire they'd tried to build. 3 more bodies were discovered next, scattered between the tree and the tent. They appeared to have frozen to death, crawling back uphill. It took 2 more months to find the last 4. Buried beneath the snow in a ravine, these bodies were different. One had a crushed skull, 2 others had shattered ribs, as if struck by a force no human hand could cause. One woman was missing her tongue, her eyes, and part of her lips. No external wounds, no signs of struggle, and most chilling of all, traces of radiation were found on some of their clothes. The official Soviet report blamed a compelling natural force. But what kind of force sends 9 seasoned hikers fleeing barefoot into death? Theory 1. Avalanche. The most widely accepted modern theory. A delayed slab avalanche may have caused the panic, forcing the group to flee, only to succumb to the elements. But there's a problem. The slope was shallow, the tent was still standing, and their injuries didn't match those typically seen in avalanche deaths. Theory 2. Military test gone wrong. Some speculate they stumbled into a secret Soviet weapons test, chemical or radiological. The radiation, the missing body parts, the secrecy around the investigation. Eyewitnesses even reported strange orange orbs in the sky the night the hikers died. Theory 3. Paranormal or extraterrestrial. To some, the injuries and bizarre behavior point to something beyond human. Was it infrasound, a yeti, or something? Not of this earth? In 2019, Russia reopened the investigation. The new conclusion? An avalanche paired with hypothermia. But many don't buy it. Too many anomalies. Too many unanswered questions. No surviving witnesses. No cameras. No final word. They had come for the challenge. Instead, they became one of history's most mysterious tragedies. 9 young souls lost not just to the cold, but to something much harder to name. November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving. A man in a black suit, with a thin tie and a briefcase, walks into Portland International Airport. He buys a one-way ticket to Seattle. He gives a name, Dan Cooper. He looked ordinary, polite, calm. He ordered a bourbon and soda after takeoff. Then, he handed a note to a flight attendant. He opened his briefcase just enough to show red cylinders and wires. Then made his demand, $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. The airline complied. Passengers were told it was a mechanical delay. Nobody panicked. Nobody knew they were mid-air in the middle of the only unsolved skyjacking in U.S. history. When the plane landed, Cooper let all 36 passengers go. Only the crew stayed on board. The ransom money and parachutes were delivered. Then Cooper gave new instructions. Fly south, toward Mexico City. Keep it low. Cabin depressurized. Landing gear down. It was clear he was going to jump. Somewhere over the dense forests of Washington, between 8 and 8:13 p.m., the rear staircase of the Boeing 727 was lowered, and D.B. Cooper vanished into a thunderstorm, the night and American legend. The FBI launched what would become the longest and most exhaustive manhunt in aviation history. Hundreds of suspects, thousands of leads, but no body, no parachute, no trace. All they found, 9 years later, was $5,800 in cash buried along the Columbia River. The serial numbers matched Cooper's ransom money. Did he survive the jump or die lost in the wilderness? Theory 1, he didn't survive. The terrain was brutal, the weather freezing and stormy. Jumping at night with no gear, no plan, was suicide, some say, but no remains were ever found. Theory 2, a perfect escape. Others believe he lived, changed identity, started over. Some suspects were ex-military, paratroopers, even CIA. D.B. Cooper became more than a man. He became a myth, a folk hero. Books, songs, documentaries, and films, all built around the mystery man in a suit who beat the FBI and vanished into thin air. To this day, his identity remains unknown. In 2016, the FBI officially closed the case. Somewhere in the cold night air of 1971, a man jumped from the sky and into history. His story is still falling. No end, no landing, just legend. Christmas Eve, mid-1945, Fayetteville, West Virginia. George and Jenny Sodder tucked their 10 children into bed. The house was warm, the tree was lit, and snow drifted gently outside. But by morning, 5 of their children were gone. Not dead. Gone. Sometime after midnight, Jenny Sodder was woken by a strange phone call. A woman's voice asked for someone who didn't live there, and laughed oddly before hanging up. Moments later, she noticed something else. Lights were on, doors unlocked, and the smell of smoke was in the air. The Sodder home was on fire. George and Jenny escaped with 4 of their children, but 5 others, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were trapped upstairs. George tried to rescue them. He smashed a window, climbed barefoot into the flames, tried to move his ladder, but it was missing. Tried to start his truck. It wouldn't turn over. The fire department didn't arrive until 8 hours later. The house burned to the ground in just 45 minutes, but when the ashes cooled, there were no bones, no remains, no trace of the 5 children who had slept in the attic that night. The coroner declared them dead, but their parents didn't believe it. In the weeks that followed, the mystery deepened. Clue 1. No bones found. Experts said bones should have survived that level of fire. Even chicken bones in the basement did. Clue 2. The missing ladder. It was found, tossed into a ditch 75 feet away. Clue 3. Witnesses saw the children alive. One woman claimed she saw them peering out of a passing car during the fire. Another days later said she saw them with unfamiliar adults at a roadside diner. Jenny wrote to the FBI. J. Edgar Hoover responded, but said it was a local matter. What happened to the Sodder children? And why does this case still haunt people nearly 80 years later? 1. Accidental death, the official story. Authorities insisted the children perished in the fire, that the remains were simply destroyed. But the Sodders had a cremation expert write back, bones don't just vanish. Not in 45 minutes, not in a house fire. 2. Kidnapping and cover-up. George Sodder was an outspoken critic of Italian dictator Mussolini. Some believed his anti-fascist views made him enemies, possibly even the mafia. In the months before the fire, strange men came to the house. One warned George that his children would pay for his opinions. Was the fire a cover for an abduction? Was someone silencing George by taking his children? 3. A family secret? Others wonder, could it have been something closer to home? Could one of the parents have hidden the truth? Or was someone in the community helping hide the children? No clear motive, no evidence, but the strange sightings, the missing ladder, the untouched remains. They all fuel the doubts. George and Jenny refused to give up. They printed over 50,000 flyers across the country. And on Route 16, they erected a billboard with the children's faces, a haunting plea for answers. The billboard stood for over 40 years. They hired private investigators. They followed every lead, no matter how faint. In 1968, they received a letter. Inside was a photo of a young man, around 30, with one chilling sentence. Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie, Elil boys, A90132. The man in the photo resembled their missing son Louis, but they never found him. Endless grief, no closure. George died in 1969. Jenny wore black for the rest of her life. She died in 1989, never knowing what happened to her children. No bodies, no answers. Just one of the most heartbreaking and baffling unsolved cases in American history. They vanished in the night, not just from their home, but from the world. And somewhere between the truth and the smoke, 5 little lives still wait to be found.
In our modern world where science explains almost everything, there are still a few objects that leave even the smartest minds speechless. They shouldn't exist. They don't follow the rules. And yet, they're real. This is the story of one of those objects, one that scientists still can't explain. In 1901, a team of sponge divers were exploring the seabed off the coast of Antikythera, a small Greek island. At first, they found statues, pottery, ancient armor, nothing too strange. But then, buried under layers of coral and sediment, they found something odd. A lump of corroded bronze covered in gears. It didn't look like anything else from the ancient world. It had teeth, dials, rotating mechanisms. At first, they thought it was modern junk, but it wasn't. This strange machine had been sitting at the bottom of the sea for over 2,000 years. Today we call it the Antikythera mechanism, and it's one of the most baffling devices ever discovered. Using X-rays and 3D modeling, researchers have slowly uncovered what it could do. And it's mind-blowing. It could track the sun, predict lunar eclipses, show the phases of the moon, and even follow the movements of the planets with stunning accuracy. In short, it was a kind of analog computer, built in ancient Greece over 1,500 years before anything even remotely similar appeared in human history. Nothing like it should have existed in 100 BC. It's as if someone dropped a Swiss watch into the Roman Empire. So who made this device and how did they do it? Some believe it was crafted by followers of Archimedes or Hipparchus, great minds of the ancient world. But even then, it seems too advanced. The level of engineering precision was thought to be impossible for that era. Some of the gears are so small and accurate, it would require tools we thought didn't exist until the 18th century. And here's the kicker. We've never found anything like it since. It's not like dozens of these were lying around. This is it. One machine, one mystery. Some wonder, was it a lost technology? Part of a secret school of knowledge that vanished in history? Or was it something even stranger, like proof of outside influence? The Antikythera mechanism sits in a museum in Athens today, locked behind glass. We know what it does. We know when it was made, but we still don't know how, or why, or what else might have been lost to time. Somewhere between myth and machine lies the truth. If this story made you rethink what's possible, don't forget to subscribe for more untold mysteries from science, space, and history. And let me know in the comments, do you think this was a one-time genius invention or a glimpse into a lost civilization? For over a century, an island appeared on maps between Australia and New Caledonia. But in 2012, it vanished. This is the story of Sandy Island, the island that never was. Sandy Island was first recorded in 1876 by a whaling ship. For decades, explorers and cartographers documented it without question. It appeared on weather maps, Google Earth, and scientific databases. In 2012, Australian scientists sailed to its exact location, but when they arrived, there was nothing. Just open ocean, 1,400 meters deep. Sandy Island didn't exist. So how does a non-existent island survive for 136 years on global maps? One theory points to a simple mistake. Pumice rafts or dark clouds might have looked like land to early sailors. But once it was recorded, others copied it without checking. When the discovery broke, media around the world ran with the headline, "Phantom Island found to be phantom." Google quickly erased it, and the scientific world laughed but also reflected. Sandy Island reminds us how easy it is to mistake myth for fact, even in science. In the age of satellites and data, one question lingers. What else have we missed?
A book written in a language no one understands, filled with plants that don't exist, diagrams that defy logic. This isn't a fantasy novel, it's real. It's the Voynich Manuscript, and for over 600 years it's refused to give up its secrets. Found in 1912 by rare book dealer Wilfred Voynich. This mysterious manuscript dates back to the 15th century. It contains over 240 pages of indecipherable script and bizarre illustrations. Botanists can't identify the plants. Linguists can't decode the language. Cryptographers from both world wars failed to crack it. The manuscript seems to be divided into 6 sections. Horrible, pages of unknown plants. Astronomical, diagrams of suns, moons, and possibly star shards. Biological, naked women bathing in what looks like connected plumbing systems. Cosmological, fold-out pages with circular diagrams and mandala-like patterns. Pharmaceutical, jars and druids as if it's a medieval apothecary. Recipes, pages full of stars and strange bullet points. Many have tried. The NSC once assigned codebreakers to the Voynich. Alan Turing reportedly looked into it. In 2018, an AI claimed it might be a mixture of known languages, but nothing definitive. The language, now called Voynichese, doesn't follow any grammatical rules. Who wrote it? Some say it was an elaborate hoax of Voynich himself. Others believe it's the work of a genius, possibly Leonardo da Vinci or a lost civilization. Some French theorists even suggest extraterrestrial or time travelers. The parchment has been carbon dated to the early 1400s, but the mystery of authorship remains. The manuscript has sparkled countless books, documentaries, and academic papers. Yale University houses it now, and digital scans have allowed amateur sleuths across the world to try their luck. Forums obsess over single letters. Documentaries speculate widely, yet no one has succeeded. What if it's nonsense? Some experts argue it could be a medieval prank. But if so, it's the most complex hoax in history. A hoax with internal structure, consistent glyphs, and rules that almost mimic language, but don't quite. Maybe one day, someone cracked the code. Maybe they'll find Rosetta Stone for Voynich. Until then, it remains one of history's greatest puzzles. A book with no name, no known author, and no readable text. The Voynich Manuscript, the book no one can read.
Discovered over a century ago, this ancient disk has baffled scholars and cryptographers alike. With symbols unlike any known language, the Phaistos Disc remains one of history's most enigmatic artifacts. What secrets does it hold? In 1908, Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernio unearthed a curious clay disc in the ruins of the Minoan Palace at Phaistos, Crete. Measuring about 16 centimeters in diameter, the disc features a spiral of stamped symbols on both sides, totaling 241 impressions of 45 distinct signs. What sets the Phaistos disc apart is its method of inscription. Unlike other artifacts of its time, the symbols were impressed using preformed stamps, suggesting an early form of movable type printing. This technique is unparalleled in the ancient world. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged regarding the disc's purpose. Some suggest it was a hymn or prayer, possibly dedicated to a mother goddess. Others believe it served as a calendar, a game board, or even a magical incantation. Yet, none of these interpretations have been universally accepted. Linguists and cryptographers have long attempted to decode the disk. In 2014, Dr. Gareth Owens claimed to have deciphered parts of it, suggesting it contains a prayer to a Minoan goddess. However, his findings remain controversial and are not widely accepted in the academic community. The disk dates back to the 2nd millennium BCE, during the height of the Minoan civilization. This advanced society, known for its art and architecture, left behind few written records. The Phaistos Disc stands out as a unique testament to their enigmatic script and communication methods. Some have questioned the disc's authenticity, proposing it might be a modern forgery. However, extensive analyses have confirmed its age and composition, aligning it with other Minoan artifacts. The consensus among scholars is that the disc is genuine. Today, the Phaistos Disc resides in the Heraklion Archaeological Museum in Crete, drawing visitors from around the world. Its mysterious symbols continue to inspire researchers, artists, and enthusiasts, cementing its place as one of archaeology's greatest puzzles. Despite over a century of study, the Phaistos Disc remains undeciphered. Will future discoveries unlock its secrets? Or will it forever guard the mysteries of the Minoan world? What do you think the disc says? Share your theories in the comments below and subscribe for more explorations into history's greatest enigmas.